Police in Newport Beach now say they arrested
by 10:50 p.m. All beaches in the city will close.
I don't know why it's crazy. I just survived Newport 2026.
And then they say things quickly spiraled out of control.
What happened at Newport Beach? I got arrested at Newport Beach on the 4th of July, and I was there since sunrise, camera rolling the entire time. And that same camera almost didn't make it out of this night either. To be clear, before we even get into this, I do not condone nor had I participated in any violent or illegal acts that took place in Newport on the 4th. But what actually happened isn't what the news told you. Over 400 people got arrested that night. The people who caused it weren't who you think. The people who got arrested weren't who you think. And by the end of the video, you'll see why so many people and I couldn't leave even if we wanted to. Okay, well first let's start off with the good. The day started amazing. It was a chill day. Everybody was hyped for the 4th of July, socializing, and now I started out at Mutts. And I was taking photos, I was meeting people, greeting people, having conversations. It was really such a fun time. Being now 21, I found in the bars that nobody really dances, so it really was just socialization. I got a lot of pics as the photographer. I talked to a lot of people, and it was really a good time. And then outside of the bar, there were beaches, there were couples there. See, if your girl went to Newport, not everybody is going. And outside the bar, there were a lot of people having fun. There were people socializing, on the beach swimming, barbecuing, playing volleyball, spike ball. It was just a really good, fun beach day. And there were a lot of dudes out there sharking, you know, shooting their shot. A lot of girls getting sharked. Would I comfort you if your girlfriend was alone at Newport on the 4th? No, I would not. There's football on the beach.
Come on! Uh-oh. What's your favorite color? Blue!
There was a DJ going, people were dancing, talking, having such a good time. I had met up with my friend and his people, and it was really such a good day on the beach before everything transpired.
Ellery's gotta go.
Ooh.
You say I got you, you can't hit it 50 yards deep, alright?
Y'all bullying Ellery?
Ellery's not good.
Excuse me, Mr. Police. Just stay over there, man. Let us do this, please. Hey!
Says stay over there. So let's talk about the people. Who was actually there? The age range at Newport was massive. You had college kids in their 20s in the bars and on the beaches. You had teens on the beaches outside. You had older people. You had residents. You had Airbnb guests posted up right outside their own places. And even cops were around, you know, just chilling at the relaxed points. People had come from everywhere. Arizona was one of the biggest out-of-town places that I got from talking to people. There's also people from Nevada. There are people from LA and the Inland Empire. As far as Minnesota, there's like international visitors as well. Every race was represented. Every race was there. Every age group was there. It was generally a mixed, diverse place, which is uncommon for Newport. Something people don't always get with how stuff is covered is it's not that certain people did something wrong. It's that when certain people do something wrong, it gets read as harmless and fun, and when those other people do the exact same thing or less, it gets read as criminal. Or more relevant to this situation, the blame goes towards who they want to blame, not necessarily who done it or who was there or who predominantly was the people involved. I watched that play out in real time that whole night because people are blaming this whole ordeal on the outsiders. The chaos wasn't just from people out of state or from LA or the IE. Most of it, the majority, was the residents. These people of Newport's children. They were in the center of it. They were throwing the fireworks. They were doing most of the damage. They were actually the majority, but that didn't want to make the coverage. It's easier to just blame it on the people outside. It's easier to blame it on the people that don't look like you. The teens of Newport were the main contributors. Yes, there of course were a number of people from the outside causing chaos as well, but they're trying to paint this as an outside issue when it's really not. The youth of Newport are heavily responsible for this outcome just as much or if not more than the people outside of Newport. Okay, so now let's talk about the turn. When everything went wrong, how did everything go wrong? The turn for me happened when I went back to my car. So when everything was happening on the beach, I was not there. I just got back to seeing it and all my stuff laying there. I was walking the sidewalk when I first saw it, a whole ring of lights of cars or horses on the beach. All the cars and lights lined up on the beach looked like a lit Christmas tree of red, blue, and white. My phone at that point was already down at 10%, and you had no access to go back on the beach to get your belongings. So me and many others see if there was a way to get on the beach to get our belongings, and one walked around. And when you walked around a couple minutes after that, the access to your car was shut off, so you're pretty much stuck. And that's when people were stuck that most of the chaos started happening. People were throwing fireworks and motors thrown at cars. People were fighting in the streets. People were dancing on cars. People were on other people's property. I didn't see this personally, but I saw on the news that people were looting stores. It was absolute and utter chaos. Vandalism, street signs broken, trees pulled up, fights happening. I really tried to steer clear, so I can't speak on specific, but I can tell you it was very wild firsthand. And this all happened from me going just on a quick trip back to my car like I didn't even have my shoes. Before I keep going, here's what the city itself says happened. Around 7 p.m., police started getting swarmed with reports of huge crowds, fireworks, and fights. By 8:25, they declared an unlawful assembly and told the residents to shelter in a place. It took 350 Newport police officers plus 17 outside agencies to get it under control. By 10:50 that night, every beach in the city was shut down. One officer got directly hit by a firework motor. By the time it was over, 402 people had been arrested, more than 6 times the arrests from the same weekend the year before. So knowing all this context, why didn't people just leave? Why didn't I? Well, there's a number of reasons. The beach itself was sealed off. People's phones, wallets, keys were still on it. Well, okay, why not get to your car? Every road to your car was blocked. And when you tried explaining to the officers that you need your car to leave or you need to get access to your car, they just told you to turn around and screamed and you said go the other way, and they would not want to hear it. Okay, well, why not call a ride? A lot of people's phones were dead and they didn't have the chargers or card to charge them in there. Also, at the beach there was no connection for it to load for rideshare purposes. Okay, well, why not just walk out? Every direction led straight to fireworks or fights or closed off stuff or looting. Wherever you walked to, no matter where it was, there was going to be chaos. Well, there had to be somewhere safe until it passed where people could just sit and maybe wait on the rides or recuperate. Why not just wait somewhere safe till it all passed? Well, that's exactly where people got arrested. In line at Subway, waiting on Ubers, people who didn't even understand what was happening and was not explained to by officers were just arrested for being in the area. When you had no way or the ways you were going to try or in process of trying to get out of the area, you were just arrested for being in that area. Even though your cars were shut off, even though your belongings were on the beach, even though you tried to leave, you were still prosecuted as if it was something deliberate, as if it was just resistance and not you having any control of that situation. Like, think about it from that stance. If you're not supposed to be there, why are these businesses open and serving you? Why are people still in lines at the bars undisturbed? If you're not physically there on the beach, if you walked away when all the chaos happened, you did not hear any announcements that may have been put out. You were not informed, and the police decided to act and arrest and detain and intimidate before they explained anything. And hey, I can understand both sides. The police had people acting crazy. They had people resisting. They had people tearing up the city. They may have felt a threat for themselves and a threat for the residents they're supposed to protect. So I'm not knocking you for doing your job of protecting, but it's just all in the communication. The communication was really not there. It was not at the best it could be. So many of the people arrested weren't the actual people doing wrongful acts, but just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they were in that wrong place at the wrong time because of the circumstances created by the police department. Their cars are blocked off, their belongings are abandoned. But the police only did that because everything was out of control. But honestly, I didn't notice much of the out of control till the police started enforcing. There was not one direction that led to actually complying with what was being asked. It's not who did wrong when it came to being arrested, it's who didn't run. It's who had access to leaving. Most of the rest were just people who had nowhere to go. I had left my wallet, my ID included, and my camera, the one I'm using to film this video and all the footage that you're seeing, on the beach. I had left my bag with somebody I just met, saying that it'd just be a quick trip to the car. Yeah, low IQ moment for me, I know. I circled around trying to find another way to my car, every entrance blocked. I charged my phone briefly at a smoke shop and then fights broke out and I didn't want to be in the area. So after getting a charge a bit, I relocated to the subway. There were a lot of people, the subway was still serving, and people were just sitting waiting on their rides. I was like, hey, this seems like a safe place. It seemed like the safe house of all this chaos. So I had already called my sister and I was waiting for her to pick me up from subway. People started screaming and running out of nowhere. A lot of people going left, a lot of people going right. But then I moved a little bit the crowd because I didn't know if they were throwing the fireworks again. I didn't know if right now there was something more serious, a fight or something life-threatening going on. So I really just moved out the way. I didn't run from the area, I just moved out the way. But then I stayed because I generally did not know what was going on. It's not like people were running away in one direction. People were running all over. I didn't know what was going on. I stayed because I didn't know what was going on. Then the police closed in with riot gear. They had shields and batons and like those face cover things. Then they had everyone sit down in a circle. They screamed, sit down. People asked what was going on. And there's literally just anyone outside a subway or in the subway or in line at the subway. They sat everybody down in a circle for hours and then they zip tied them and then you waited and sat there. Everybody was told they would be arrested and taken to jail. Ages in custody ranged from maybe 15 to 30. People were booked, fingerprint, and released and then walk the entire way back to the beach to get through their cars. And me personally, I was barefoot because my shoes were in one of the belongings. So all this time walking around the city, all this time running away from the fights or the fireworks that broke out, searching for my car, searching for my things, and walking all the way from the police department back to the beach was all barefoot. So right now, my feet are swollen. My feet are still swollen. It hurts to walk.
I'm literally soaking my feet right now.
Remember I said my camera almost didn't make it out that night? Actually, I didn't even get it that day. The next day, I went back to Newport and I had an air tag on it. So I went back to that spot where it last showed and I searched and searched for hours. I talked to every lifeguard. I talked to the lifeguard headquarters. I talked to the Newport Police Department. I talked to residents. I was walking around searching, all that, whatever. Could not find my camera at all. I thought it was cooked, done. All the photos I've taken that day, all the backed up stuff I had from the entire year, I thought it was all cooked and finished. And when I got back to my city, I noticed that the air tag had moved and it hasn't moved the whole day. Then I noticed it moved again. But the crazy thing is, with it being in Newport, it showed in my city. In my city. So you know I had to call my police department. And my police department told me to call the Newport Police Department. And Newport told me to call mine. Then they told me to call Newport back. Then they told me to call mine again. Then we had something happen. So basically somebody had just found it. It was abandoned, either thrown somewhere or whatever. But it still had the air tag and they were planning on returning it. And I got it back from the police officer. Thank you, the kind man who found my stuff, and thank you, the officer who helped me out. So as far as the media narrative goes, let's directly respond to these claims. It was mostly outsiders. NBC Los Angeles reported that authorities said many of the people arrested were from out of state, and the Police Officers Association pushed a TikTok takeover. Outside alligators showing up to cause harm. And I'm not saying that's wrong. There were definitely rowdy people from Arizona, LA, Nevada, the IE, and many other places. But from when I personally watched all that day and night, it wasn't just the non-residents. It was Newport's own residents majority. It was a majority of their kids. It was their teens. It was their young adults. I don't know why they don't want to cover that. There's also the second claim that the people arrested were the ones causing trouble. The city's official statement says about 200 of the 402 arrests were people who stayed near 28th Street after an unlawful assembly was declared, and the rest were accused in inciting the crowd or acting violently. That's the official version. But from what I lived through myself, a lot of those people weren't staying out of defiance. They were people who never heard or understood the announcement, whose phones were dead, had no connection, whose cars were blocked in, whose belongings were left on the beach, who had nowhere left to go. The people actually setting off motors and looting stores, A lot of them weren't even caught. A lot of them just got away, and people who couldn't get away because of what was going on were the ones who truly suffered. I also believe that the residents truly suffered. You have people on your property, you have people destroying your stores, dirtying your community. I would advocate for it to be shut down if I lived in that area. I would have Newport shut down. Because how much are you paying to get terrorized? But don't act like it's just the outsiders. It is the insiders too. If half the rest were people just in the area, and you closed off most of the ways to leave, and you did not consider all the ways that people could not get out of the area, what are they really being arrested for? You didn't arrest the people who were throwing the fireworks. You didn't arrest the people who were wreaking havoc. Those people got away. Those people, if they didn't park in an area that was blocked off, they just ran to their cars. You prosecuted, you arrested, you held the people who were really just in the area trying to get out. But I don't know, it was a tricky situation. It seemed very hard to control. Next year, I know I'm staying home, or I'm most definitely not stepping foot in Newport. I'm not going back to Newport for the 4th ever again. I just went because I thought it'd be nice to document everybody having fun. I mean, it's the beach and it's a pretty crowded beach, so I thought I'd meet so many new people, take a lot of photos, and I really did. Before everything popped off, I really did. I had a great time. As an actor, I study new people and how they behave, so I like new environments, new people. And low-key, when I meet new people, I play a character. If I told you I was Jamaican, I was acting, I was lying, I'm sorry. But if you were out there and you got charged for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, drop your story in the comments. I want to know as well. I probably ran into you. If you were at Newport at all, I want to hear your story in the comments. This wasn't just a story time for me. It's about the people getting lumped in with all the chaos when they were really just trying to go home. And honestly, most of us should have